Can everybody just give me a thumbs up that you can hear me okay? Awesome. Okay. Well, to respect your guys' time and that fact that it's beautiful weather outside, and I don't want to cause you to be on a screen for longer than you need to, I will start. But first of all, just thank you for coming. It's like I said, it's great to see faces. Before we begin, I know it's no secret that our country and a lot of people and our hearts are hurting of just what's going on, hurting for justice and for peace. So I just would love to start out just by sharing in a Hail Mary together, just as a prayer for healing in our country. So feel free to just join me in on your end. So in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Thank you. All right, so the goal of this meeting is that I'm just going to kind of touch base with you guys on a few things. And then, honestly, I just really want to open the conversation up. This meeting is meant to be an opportunity for me to hear successes you guys are having, challenges that you're facing, just as we kind of close up digital learning and the school year. I'm really looking forward to listening to what you guys have to share. And I really do plan to use that information to drive my plans and communication as we continue on. I really feel like we are all a team and a community together, and I really value all of your guys' inputs and insights. Especially when I'm not in the trenches with your kids every day. It's really hard to know and feel out what families are experiencing at home. So this is a great opportunity for me to share in that with you guys. So first, whatever drink you may have, please have it. Mine is just water right now because as I shared, I have to do a graduation video after this. So water is the smartest choice. But I first just want to start out with raising our glasses to all of you guys. Cheers and blessings to you parents. You're the glue that holds your family together. You're the rock stars of just putting your children first, helping them be successful. Thank you for your partnership and collaboration with St. Rose. We are very, very blessed. So cheers to all of you guys. Oh, hi, Darcy. I've seen now everybody's face popping up, which is great. Okay, so I'm just gonna, like I said, talk for a very short amount of time, and then I just really want to open it up to all of you guys. So some things to just refresh your memory if you haven't read all the countless emails in detail. I shared in a few emails that the Department of Catholic Schools has a task force. And this task force their main focus is to plan and help troubleshoot for what next year will look like. Once the governor makes her directive, then the DCS will provide our private schools with our plans. So once I receive that communication, I will reach out to you guys and provide you with what's going to happen. So unfortunately, right now, I don't have anything as far as what the fall is going to look like. We're just pretty much preparing for anything. We're preparing for being in the classroom. We're preparing for being in the classroom with various safety precautions, and we're preparing for starting out in digital learning. So we're just kind of preparing for all of the cases, and then we'll get more directives soon. Like I said, I do invite feedback as far as I don't know what's next year is going to be going to hold. So in regards to digital learning, I am going to send out a survey in 2 weeks. Once the final day of school has passed, I'll send it out that next week. And it will just be honestly an opportunity for you guys to share with me how digital learning went for your family. And that will just give us a lot of data to move forward with for next year if this is how we need to start out. So please take part in that survey. Any information you have helps, even if it is a question that just says, yes or no, and you're like, oh, I'll maybe skip that one. Like just even identifying yes and no really helps us out. So if you can fill that survey out when it comes, that would be great. And like I mentioned, we no matter what occurs in the fall, you can expect that learning will happen. We are not letting off the pedal in that kind of sense. We've learned much this spring, and we'll really be evaluating our successes and our failures to make things even better. We know that we still have a lot to learn in digital learning, but we'll be adapting a lot. We'll be streamlining, collaborating, taking part in a lot of professional development and whatnot, if that's the direction that we will be going in. The last couple things I just want to touch on. I know that there's been many financial fears and realities that are coming with this crisis, and I know that it's hitting every family in really different ways. I know some are having a hard time right at the beginning, some not yet, some it might happen over the summer. It's really hard to predict. But I really mean it when I say, no matter what, please reach out to me. We really want to know if your family is struggling with finances and how we can help aid in that. So at any point, if it's July 4th and you don't think anybody's in the office, I will be in the office. I will be checking email. You can email me at any time and we will work through it, because your families mean a lot to us and we really want to make it so that you guys can stay at St. Rose. So that would also be great for you guys to share with others. If you hear from any other families that are in need, that are maybe scared to say they need help, please encourage them to. All right, that's enough for me. So I'm just gonna leave the rest of the time for questions and comments. I will do my best to answer your questions because I really do want transparency. I will fully admit I do not know all the answers. So Shelly is going to be my little note taker on her side. So I will get back to you because all of this is very uncharted waters. But I do really want to hear from all of you guys. So if it gets rowdy, we can go to raising your hands. But if not, you can just unmute yourself and just kind of share what's on your mind and your heart. So oh my gosh, there's so many more little boxes. Hi, everyone. So yeah, so whoever wants to jump in, feel free.
Can I start with something that's an end of the year thing? I was wondering what kind of resources we could utilize this summer. I mean, without any camps or swimming or really much of that going on, I would really appreciate some, just kind of some activities that we could do together as incoming kindergartner and a fourth grader. And then also, I'm really worried, like the last 2 summers, I've really worked hard with Ellen on doing flashcards and stuff, and it is not easy and it's not pretty, but something like a reflex or something like what we've already been using that's like a fun game would really be helpful to kind of help keep her knowledge up, I guess, and just even basic facts and stuff. I just feel like she's kind of at a disadvantage already, and I really want to help her not get that far behind with what we've already, the level we've already gotten up to.
Yeah, so what the teachers this week are really focusing on closing up all their assessments and grading. And then I will be meeting with them on Wednesday, and our main focus for our Wednesday meeting, I meet with all of them in grade pods. So pre-K through 2nd grade meets together, 3rd and 4th meets together, and then middle school meets together. And we have been doing this every week since we started. And it's just a good way for us to collaborate, bounce ideas off, things that are going wrong, help each other. This coming week's meeting will all be around how to provide summer resources and activities for you to send to your parents regarding what your kids can be doing over the summer. So they're going to try to figure out all those websites that you mentioned, Kelly, that like, are we going to have access to them over the summer? Are we not? So if we don't, what are some other resources out there that we can use? And giving everybody just ideas of things they can do to brush up on their, whatever grade they're in to get prepared for the fall. And then we will be really diligent in how we assess kids in the fall to really figure out where they are so that we can adjust our learning and teaching instruction for those kids.
Yeah, I know the reflex is going to be finished. I think this week we got a notice that said this is the last week we'll be able to use reflex. So I am kind of hoping that we might be able to negotiate something to do that over the summer, or find something comparable. Because yeah, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I definitely have felt like the learning has been a little bit like tapering off and, down and up. It's not quite, the trajectory that we would be if we were in school. And maybe that's just me, but I mean, my fault. And then but I think, yeah, just trying to I'm struggling with trying to keep her level up of energy and wanting to learn and knowing just kind of the basic fact stuff that she needs to know to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly, I'll say, I just saw an email, and I think we have reflex through the summer.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
So I'll recheck it and if I misread it,
Okay.
but I was very excited because I've been thinking.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great.
I know there are a lot of things like that just, became free when we went to digital learning. And I kind of predict there's going to be a lot of things that are going to continue over the summer because of companies just really wanting to continue to support families during this really unique time. So that's kind of the teacher's goal, is to go through and figure out what resources still can be available. And if not, to find something that supplements it and to provide that. That's a great question.
Can I ask a question about talking about like the assessments that you guys are doing? I don't know about everybody else, but I know like Kelly was saying, like, yeah, it was going like this and seemed to be good. And I know it's like this, like getting figured out on the systems. My lack of supporting and figuring it all out, all these different things. My worry is, however, that assessment is, like, how is that it really, like, my worry is that that's not a true depiction of how they're going to be assessed, so that looking at the last like couple months for assessments and then figuring things out, I yeah, I feel like we've just been trying to just skirt by, and I, like Kelly said, like not building on that as much as I know that they would have. So the assessments that everyone's doing, I just was wondering kind of what that looks like.
So it's varying over the grades, but most of the biggest one that's pretty consistent across the grade levels is a writing assessment. We obviously understand that, some of the stuff being turned in is supervised a ton by the parents, and then others it's not supervised at all from the parents. And so the teachers are really kind of juggling, like, oh, interesting, like this kid would never use a word like that, or like those types of things. But that's most of the assessments is to just kind of wrap things up and close things up. We are very aware that it's not a true depiction of where the kid is at. You'll know when we give our report cards, because the Department of Catholic Schools told us that we are supposed to grade as much like we normally would as we can, which is hard. But they did give us some directive on using NG, which stands for not graded. And you'll see that we have a little write-up that's going to be included in the report card that's going to kind of break down what the report card is like for trimester 3. And you're going to note that a lot of things on there are not NG, because we can't accurately depict if the kid is doing it by themselves, if there's parent help, that kind of thing. So most of the assessments are just to kind of wrap things up and have kids kind of show what they know and just be proud of this last week of kind of academic instruction, just like we would in a normal school year. And then that report card, like I said, will really, the comment section that I wrote will really break down why we're not grading certain things and why they have NG.
Ms. Penwell?
Yes.
So I'm just curious, because I don't know the dynamics or politics or whatever, how the Oregon Department of Education and the Catholic Department of Education doesn't sound like they're in sync.
They are not.
Mm-hmm.
The Department of Catholic School gets to kind of, they get to kind of see what the public schools are doing, and then they get to decide on their own what they would like to do, and then they give those directives to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad that we're not exactly all the same as like PPS. I am hoping, and I just want to throw this out there to you, that I hope that you guys will fight to put the school back in session in the fall, just based on, the data of kids not being, younger kids not having the receptors for some of the receptors that are needed for the virus, or like the low percentage of kids getting the virus, and all that kind of stuff, and really try and do something that's right for us, that works for us and that's safe for us. And I get that maybe not every student will feel comfortable or safe going back to school, but I feel like I have confidence that we could do that, and that it's important to, try and get businesses, schools, that kind of stuff back, the economy, just getting it back together to, help people survive and help businesses and schools survive as well. So I hope that you guys will take that into consideration and really see, use other places as an example, but also do what's kind of right for us, and be our champion for, just getting the kids back into school sooner rather than later.
And the big idea behind this task force with the Department of Catholic Schools is that they are going to come up with many different scenarios based on what we are told to do. So it might be, we can go back into the building, but there's certain safety precautions we have to take. Then they're going to kind of break that down even more into like, is your school size this amount? Then you should be doing this. Is your school size this amount? Because it's just not one size fits all. I mean, you go have All Saints that has 500 plus, and then you have us, and then you have some schools that only have like 100. And so, I mean, all of that looks really different. But as far as directives of like, can you be in the cafeteria? Okay, maybe not. Do we need to eat in the classrooms because of size? Different things like that. They'll give us some requirements, and then they will also give us a little bit of like, it's your building, it's your community, figure out also what works best for you guys. Trust me, Kelly, we all want to be in the building. We really all want to be in the building.
As a balance of opinions here, I disagree respectfully to Kelly and others that I don't want to rush back into school, because I think about students who have vulnerable conditions, and teachers are adults, and some of our teachers are older, and anyone that could be more vulnerable. That, and just the idea that students can actually maintain distance from each other at any age, I mean, from pre-K through college, is fairly ridiculous. And so I know that no one's going to make rash decisions, but I also just kind of wanted to say that I know there are parents in the community that feel like, prudence and slow approach is also valuable. It's not worth rushing in for any of the risks that are still unknown, because some of the science is not, let's just say, solid yet on some of those age-related conditions with the virus spreading.
I knew you guys were going to say that. I hesitated saying it because I saw Darmody's on there, but I'm glad we can have our own opinions. So, no disrespect to you on my opinion either.
Yeah, and as long as the school supports that, because you're going to definitely have people that are walking that line one way or the other, and as long as that's part of the plan that comes back as to how we figure that out and make it work for those that want to and those that are still hesitant, I think that that's a huge show of support too. So
yeah, I think we just have to be realistic about our expectations and what level of risk people are willing to tolerate. It can't be without risk. But I think, to Ryan's point, some scenario where we think they're going to stay socially distant is probably not a realistic scenario. That doesn't mean I don't think we should do it, but I think we just need to be realistic about what we can expect from the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even if there's some sort of hybrid where you can do distance learning, or you attend school a couple days a week, or something where that's available for comfort levels as well. Like if you decided to, open it up or whatever, that there's still an option for people who are at risk or people who are not comfortable, and like still having a continuation of what we're the distance learning.
And those are all definitely things that the Archdiocese has heard from us and has heard from parents. And so they're taking all that stuff into account when they're going to work this out and present it to us. We're just, like I said, I unfortunately don't know time frame. So I will be as quick to let you guys know when stuff is established and in place.
Something else I would really like to ask, and I know this was something we had talked about the other day, but FaceTime, more teacher time, because there has been and I know the teachers are busy, so I'm not discounting that at all, but I feel like it's 30 minutes a week or less with a teacher. I don't feel, I'm not doing the job of helping with certain things. And I think that's reflected probably in a lot of kids' grades and their interaction with things. But I really think that one-on-one time, even if it's like a rotating of like 5 kids every day, something, they are significantly lacking, and I'm frustrated with the lack of FaceTime. They do videos, and the videos are amazing, but I think the actual conversation, talking, and connecting is hugely a focus for next year.
That was my my third thing on my little list of things I wanted to talk about. Not to gripe, but I just feel like, you know, our teacher in third grade, Miss Anna, I don't feel like she's talked to the students at all. I mean, she hasn't talked to Ellen at all. And these FaceTime calls, you know, Miss Christine got on to, we were FaceTiming or, you know, Zoom calling Tuesdays and Thursdays. And our Tuesday is taken over by Miss Christine, which is fine, but that just seemed like it was taking a little bit off Miss Anna's plate. And then even when we were having Thursday Zoom calls, I just felt like there's no interaction, and like, do you want to know what's going on in the kids' lives? I don't know what's going on in your life. And it just really, it really felt, I don't know, desolate. Like it just was like, do these things on the Google Classroom, and, you know, we'll put in a Zoom call for a second or two. And I've been disappointed.
Yeah, you know, and Jess, kind of to respond back to you, I'm a middle school teacher myself, and yeah, you know, I really wish I could be more synchronous with my students. My school's dynamic is completely different than St. Rose. I wish I could do more for my students. And at times I wish teachers at St. Rose were different. But what we've been asked to do as teachers is pretty monumental. And I know some teachers are trying the best they can. I know myself, there's ways I could have done better. But I agree that as a parent, I would want that more. And as a teacher myself, I wish I could engage my students more. But to balance everybody's schedules and get them all in the same spot at the same time is really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love our school and our teachers, and we have so many teachers that are connected to our school and are part of our school and part of our community, which I think is amazing because it gives us a perspective. But I would even be interested as to like, what do the teachers do during the day? What does their week look like? We don't know. We just have the digital learning stuff, but I don't know what the teachers do. I know they grade stuff. I know they look at stuff. I know they have to schedule stuff, but I think it would be interesting for me, like, what does your day look like? The kids don't know either, because even they're like, yeah, I haven't really talked to anybody, and we haven't talked to our teacher, you know, just all of that stuff. But you're right. And me as a parent, I could have done so many things different, and it helps me prepare for next year. So I'm in the same boat, and I'm thankful for what we have, and the school has done amazing. That's something with more planning and trying to kind of get some stuff scheduled. That's what I would.
And that is really the intention of the end of the year survey, is to really see what you guys have reflected on for the last 10 weeks of digital learning and what it could look like that could be different to enhance learning with the kids and the interaction with the kids. So that's where I would really push all of you guys. I mean, all this is great conversation, and just like Dave said, the teachers want it every time I meet them. I mean, but what's happening is that their whole world was flipped upside down, and in one day they had to just flip and try and figure out how to do this, and it's really, really hard. They work way more now than they did just normally. So sorry, I'm just getting teary-eyed because I reflect a lot on like what I would be like as a teacher right now, and it'd be really, really hard. You know, you don't get feedback from kids like you do in the class. You can't tell if they get it or if they don't. Like, we feed off of the kids' energy, and to just be on a screen is really, really tough. And I think the other thing is just dynamics. Like you guys, your families have been through a lot. And so just to try to balance flexibility of like, let's try to do, a Zoom, and then someone can't join and you just feel heartbroken because you want them there, but you can't Zoom till midnight. But just know the teachers, they are reflecting on all of this too. And if they could, they would just be online and teach the whole time. But then it's figuring out that balance of, well, so-and-so wasn't able to join, so now they missed it. So now what do you do? So that's stuff that we're definitely really, really going to be learning for next year if this has to start out like this. And most of their days are being spent teaching themselves how to do stuff, just like you guys are every day, like, because they weren't on Google Classroom like they were. Seesaw, there's a lot of different facets that they have to teach themselves to then send out to you guys to try to be as expert as they can, because they know they're going to get 20 questions. How do you do this? How do you do this? And so they have to know it. Sorry, I'm getting kind of passionate about this part, but it's a lot, and I just want you guys to know that they know they can do better, and it's hard, and we're just going to keep working to get better, because your kids mean a lot to us. So.
Please do not apologize for your passion. We love
Christine,
it.
is it okay if I step in? It's Kim.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you for that. That gives us a little bit more insight than we had. And I just want to also echo Kelly and Jess, because that is something that the kids are truly craving. I mean, every night over dinner we hear, I missed my friends, I missed my teacher, I didn't get to talk to them today, I didn't know what was going on. So to know, I mean, we know it in our hearts that everybody misses each other, but I think that we need to maybe express it a little bit more. And hopefully people will say things in the survey. I know that I signed my name to the survey. I'm really honest with it. I want people to know, but I think there might be some really good ideas out there that parents that are going through different circumstances than Tyler and I are, that they might have some ideas that I might be able to sit back and go, oh, that would work for us too, or something that's been working for Tyler and I that we can add to the survey that can maybe help another group of parents. I know Mrs. Coonrath did an amazing job with a couple of parent pre-K meetings, and we were shooting ideas back and forth. And that parent meeting, just to have that support of my pre-K fellow parents, because I work a lot, I don't get to see them. And honestly, guys, this is the teacher right now. It's not me. And so if there's
grade on a curve if I'm in charge.
So what I would just ask is that if we do have that survey, I want to learn from my fellow community members and from my fellow parents, because if they put a suggestion out there, so maybe if we could figure out the transparency with the survey for the results so that we can hear it back. Because for me, I just want to echo what Kelly was saying and what Jess was saying. That's our number one thing that we wanted to bring to the happy hour today, is that we wanted more FaceTime with the teacher, not just Jameson to have more FaceTime, but also for us to have it. That kind of, that feedback that we know all the teachers are craving, we want it too. And I think that we're just as passionate about that. So I started to tear up when you were talking, because I feel the same way from the parental side. And I don't feel like we've met in the middle very well. And I think it's because from the parent side, ties back into teaching for the first time in 20 years. And we're trying to balance it with that. So if we can come up with some like shared suggestions and transparency, I'd really, really appreciate it.
That's great, Kim. Thank you.
I was raising my hand. I'll just unmute. I was unmuted, but I was waiting. I think that what Carrie Lesh has done has been fabulous. Cormac in first grade has not missed a beat. The calls they do, the videos they do. I think she was the first one to do a virtual happy hour to get feedback. So that's been awesome. And so we also have a fifth grader, Angus. So Mrs. Groban has been, I don't think she does as much of the videos as Carrie Lesh does, but you know, fifth grade math is hard, and she has met with her math group, and I've listened in on the calls, and she's asked, you know, what other questions you want me to go through. I've graded your tests, look at your tests, what can I run through for you? And I just think that's been great. There might be some I think my own son, I'm like, don't you want to ask about the problems you missed? So I was trying to get them to speak up. That's more of a kid being shy, not wanting to show that they didn't get it or know it thing. It's not it's not a Mrs. Groven thing. And so, anyway, I think they've done great, and realize how hard that they have to work to get to where they are. And I just want to tell you, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Lisa. Do know that a lot of things that we're thinking about for next year are things like surveying each family in each grade before the first day of school to really get a picture of like what your family life is like at home. Like, do you have two parents that are working outside of the house? Do you have two parents working inside the house? Do you have someone that's not working? So we can get a little bit better of a dynamic of what's going on at home, which will help, especially with a new class, because we had the benefit of this year, they knew the kids from September. So that was a really great benefit with, knowing, oh, so-and-so, can do better than that, because I know I had them. So we're going to have to start with a fresh group of kids, but we're going to be doing a lot of tracking. So teachers are going to kind of fill out a folder at the end of this year that really kind of shares a lot about the dynamics of the class, so that the teacher's not going in blind and they're really understanding, is this a class that's really high in readers, low in readers, what's kind of the scope of all of that type of thing, so that we can help at the beginning. And then also just kind of seeing, like you guys mentioned on your just kind of right now with your thoughts of like, what is the best time for live instruction so that the most of our kids can be on that. What are your devices like at home? Do you have a printer? Do you not have a printer? Things like that will just help us a little bit faster than what we had to do within, 2 weeks of catch up of being like, oh yeah, they don't have printers. Let's get Chromebooks out and all that stuff. So that's another big thing we're really thinking about for next year.
And can I just tag on with the survey thing too? First, just some feedback on this year. I wouldn't have minded maybe a survey halfway through or a couple weeks in, or a month in, just to be able to give you that feedback so you could flex and flow with that. It almost seems like, okay, this is what we were doing, and then we just did that the entire time without anyone being like, oh, this is really difficult for me, or this is working for me, or we're not seeing Miss Dana enough. Can we, let her know that we want to, talk, have a virtual happy hour with her and the parents, or, whatever it is, but just to be more flexible, or kind of keep an ear open to the whole class and their families to see how it's going with them.
Well,
So
I felt like,
of-
oh, sorry, Ms. Penwell. And I really appreciated Miss Keller checking in. I know almost every week she was calling and checking in, seeing about our needs. So even though it wasn't a survey to fill in, I felt that connection, and I appreciated it very much. And fortunately, I didn't have a lot that I had to say was going wrong.
And we did have a survey. We did send out one when we were about maybe 3.5, 4 weeks in, that a lot of people on the screen, I remember, did fill out. That was just kind of initially like, hey, how are things are going? We're a couple weeks in, and we did get some great feedback on there, which actually helped us change office hours, because we were realizing office hours were all at the same time for everybody, and so that wasn't helpful for kids that had multiple children. So actually we had a great one that gave a lot of feedback for moving forward. And then I can't say my door's always open because I'm not there, but my email, like, please do not feel like you can't shoot me an email and just say, hey, quick question about this, or if you don't feel comfortable asking your teacher, or you just have something you want to clarify. I've had quite a few parents that just emailed and just said, I'm kind of confused about this, or can you help me with this? And I'm happy to be that person to step into.
How about champions? Have they reached out to say, like, if school's in session, here's what we're going to do, or we're not going to do before care, but we'll do after school care until this time? Or
so they being part of KinderCare, they are in certain, they are providing care for certain healthcare workers. So they are following all the safety precautions that need to be done by the state. And so they are actually running some after school, or excuse me, like just daycare systems. I reached out to the head person, and she loves our school and is just saying, you know, you let me know what you know in the fall, and we are happy to do what we need to do to make sure that this happens. So they definitely want to work with us and offer before after care, as long as we just know what our restrictions are for how many, you know, kids we can have and things like that. Space will be a big one. And so yeah, and then same with Jewel. That's also another company that is just, a lot of people are just kind of teetering because we don't know, and they don't want to plan too much for not knowing if we're going to be in the building in the fall or not. But they are also have reached out to all the Catholic schools that have used them, and they're working on precautions of maybe they don't do hot lunch and it's just cold lunch items that are just in a like a compostable bag, so that it just, they hand off and that's it. They're talking about whether or not the salad bar is going to be the way it is because of everybody sharing tongs. So yeah, they're definitely exploring all the different aspects of that too. So they very much want to be in session if we are in session. Yeah, Steve, thanks for the raised hand.
Yeah, no worries. A lot of people. Yeah, I get the sense that it's going to be pretty fluid for a while, and then we really won't know anything until it's probably pretty close to, you know, start of the school year / mid-August. Just, you know, because you never know what's going to happen. So I, you know, totally get that, and I, you know, I think we all need to, you know, just be ready to be flexible, which is, you know, easy to say but tough to do at times. The other pieces, I think, I can't remember who said it, but I think I took as a good idea the one that the notion that if teachers, as we kind of go into the start of the year, maybe you know, set up calls or meet with parents to be able to help the parents learn how to help their kids a little bit more, and how to help teach the subject at home a little bit more. So, you know, things like, you know, 6th grade math or whatever, if you don't have a math whiz at home, or they could even, you know, just pass ideas amongst themselves, you know, the parents within each grade as to what's working, what may not be working, et cetera. And then, you know, people can go off on their own and do little side chats, et cetera. Except, you know, the same kids having kind of the same, you know, issues or concerns, et cetera. So I think the more we can maybe start that process the sooner the, you know, in the start of the year, the better. So anyhow,
Definitely.
might
And
just,
we you know, we thought a lot about, like, we'll definitely be offering various, if we're in, you know, digital learning, a lot of tutorials as far as like, come join a Zoom and get talked through how to use Google Classroom. If, you know, because that we realized was a huge learning curve for a lot of people. And so like all those just tutorials about how can we make this be most successful for everybody, and everybody needs to feel educated and involved in it. So there will definitely be lots more opportunities to join on Zoom and get to hear about how to use the different platforms and how to help your kid be successful. And teachers will be meeting with kids and small groups. They've talked a lot about how they'd like to do more live instruction with smaller groups. I think for most of them, it was kind of survival mode, and it was like, I'm on a nice track, like I don't really want to put a wrench in it, and who knows what that might look like or what might happen. So there's a lot of things I know that they're just constantly writing notes of, oh, think about this for next year and next year in case we have to go in that direction.
thank you. And P.S. thanks for all the work you and the staff have been doing. I know it's been a trial by fire, and you've all pulled it off, you know, give or take pretty darn well under the circumstances. I know there's a lot of schools, you know, public and private, that are well behind our curve. So
Thanks, Steve.
Can I piggyback on that? I did want to say too that through work I talk with people at various parts of the country, and almost invariably it comes up, or your kids distance learning. And I am always proud to say that, yeah, my kids are private school, and luckily the first day they couldn't be in the building, they started distance learning, and they weren't behind by weeks, so that they can try to get to the next grade and be prepared for the next grade. And I've just been really proud to be able to say that. And I don't think I've told you thank you. So thank you to you and staff for doing that, Christine.
You're very welcome. Anything else that's on your guys' mind?
So what's everybody drinking? It's a happy hour, right?
I was just about to go get some wine.
Dominique Dahlmeyer here too in the house.
Yes, it looks like she's on vacation.
In different
Not really
groups
good.
and helping just talk about the virus with kids, which has been really helpful just to have, that dialogue with the kids that, they're definitely aware of what's going on. And so I very much appreciate your time, Dominique. Oh, Shalene, yes.
Sure,
raise
thank
your
you.
hand.
I was wondering, I know she has a lot of presence in like kindergarten and second grade because my kids are there. Like, does Dominique also have like presence in the older grades, third, fourth, fifth, to talk about these kinds of things, or not really?
I mostly do K through third. Partly because those are the classes I've been going into all year and have that relationship, and we have the kids know what I'm offering and know what I come in and do. I mean, I'd be more than happy to, I'd love to do middle school stuff especially, but it just, scheduling and how things have gone, I'd be more than happy to.
Yeah, because like the stuff that you actually teach during those sessions is so valuable, and I wish I could pass it on to like older kids so that they dig it too, because they're feeling the same way. It's just that you can your materials and stuff like that is really beneficial to all grades, I reckon. And so like at this point of time, it was just like, because you stopped in third, it was just I felt maybe the older kids just missed out just a little bit. I mean, they don't have to have like a weekly thing. It's just a checkup.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, so I think that would have helped. But,
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
I hear you.
But discussions is always like constant in my household in all avenues. So everyone hears it. So
Good.
but thank you
That's
very much for doing that, and
Sure.
totally appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, maybe for the fall, or we'll just see. Yeah.
It's good dialogue to know though how people are finding it helpful, and
that's true.
Dominique might get really good into maybe taping some things, and then we can just share it out that way.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I hadn't even really thought of that.
She's got her own 2 kids that she's also teaching at home as well as a private practice. So you got a lot going on, Dominique.
Yeah, a little bit. So yeah. Well,
Do you
thank
guys have any questions at all about even just the last 2 weeks of school? Anything along the lines of that?
I have a question, more so I've just heard little rumblings. I'm not really sure what's fact or not, related to the budget, and perhaps things that might be here or might not be here, or people. And so just wondering if you can offer any insight in that regard.
I can share that my finance committee, who 3 of them are actually the 3 that are on it, are here. We have Jason and Steve and Lisa. Ever since the pandemic happened, we have been meeting weekly, along with someone who's on the admin council sits in. And we just started to taper off and meet every other week, just because things were settling down a little bit. But what they're helping us do is that we were already at a deficit for this year's budget because of enrollment. We budgeted for 250 and we were at 239. And so there's already a deficit to work with there. And then with just planning precautions for what next year might hold, as far as how this really affects our community financially and families. So right now we're just planning for a bunch of different scenarios of where we're at. One of the keys that eats, and so that's something we're really proactive, and I don't want to say aggressive in a bad way, but like, we're sharing all the great things that we're doing, and Shelly's being great with our social media and parent referrals to send out to you guys, because honestly, you guys are the ones that get people to come to St. Rose because they hear great things from you guys. I'm still meeting with a lot of families actually over Zoom. I think, don't quote me because I'm not positive right now, but I'm sure, I think I've met with at least 15 over Zoom as far as new families that want to join for next year, and they want to join even if we're in digital learning because they've heard great things about it. We've gotten quite a few that are still enrolling because of that. Right now, we have 235 that we're looking at for next year. That's the ones that have said officially yes, and our middle is full at 30, 30, and 30. And then right now, our main classes that are opened are first to fifth. That's just the area we still have options for space. I haven't shared anything as far as programs or people not being left or being brought back, just because right now it's kind of like Steve mentioned, it's pretty fluid with just kind of what's happening with budget and enrollment. And so we are just planning to try to be really good stewards of our money, and we'll see where we're at, especially come fall, to see if we have to make any cuts. But what our biggest thing is we want to continue to focus on the mission of the school, and that's educating your kids to be academically great and also have great relationships with God. And so we'll do the best we can to make sure those are at the forefront of all of our decisions made. And we'll be keeping everybody in the loop as things start to happen. Nothing has been shared because nothing has permanently happened that needs to be shared, if that makes sense, Sarah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate like this opportunity and surveys. I feel like, might as well. And it's just an opportunity for us all to give more feedback, the phone calls. So any more of that, I'm totally on board with as we go towards the fall. Just one area is just, and I know it was crazy and you can't control what was going on, but I think just the consistency across grades, having kids and talking to other people and other families, just the wide difference between one grade and another grade, amount of work, amount of calls, amount of videos, just trying to make that a little bit more consistent and scaffolded, I think would be important because, learning has kind of tapered off a bit at our house. So that would just be something I would say. I'll put that in my survey. So.
Great, thank you. Anything else?
So Christine, did you hear any feedback about the topic of protests and racial unrest and anti-racist curriculum? And
we have not. We just started out in prayer about it. So to fill the rest of you in, Dominique just kind of reached out to me today, and we all know what's going on in the world, and we're trying to kind of find a good balance of what should be addressed with kids and talked about, but also being, not conscientious, but also just being aware it's the last 2 weeks of school and things are crazy. And, we also want to bring them joy, but also there's a lot of reality in the world that they know about. And so she just kind of brought up, do we want to send something out to parents, like would resources from Dominique to how to talk to your kids about things, would that be helpful? How would you guys feel if a teacher in like a Zoom brought up these type of topics and with your kids? Yeah, Dominique, thank you for bringing that up. That'd be a great dialogue to have with people here of kind of what you think about us bringing it up with your kids.
Resources probably wouldn't be a bad idea for to make available to parents, like how to talk to your kids about stuff. I'm sure to each parent, and will take their own approach and
right, yeah,
based on kids' age, that type of thing as well. So
yeah.
And I'll just say my kids really appreciate your calls when you're on there, and I feel like you give them a lot of great strategies. So on that topic, not knowing exactly where you stand, I guess, on that, but in general, the way I feel is that I want my kids to talk about and have conversations about some of this stuff that's going on. And so if you're able to facilitate some of that, then, that would be wonderful.
If we aren't, as a school, parenting aside, if we aren't as a school directly addressing this, we're not doing our mission and the mission of the church. So, you know, I'm 100% do be as explicit and culturally and gospel centered as it needs to be. And I appreciate that as a teacher, we can't be experts in all things. And we have to put aside much of our own fragility, being so predominantly white in Portland and in St. Rose. But I mean, I'm trying to do that difficult work myself as a teacher. And the reason I was late to this call is because we were up at the protest at 57th and Sandy with the kids that started at 4:00. And so kind of got part of that and then tried to be here for this. But I would just say, don't be afraid to make mistakes because it's better for us to be bold and not better, but it's necessary for us to be bold and to show that we hold each other accountable and model that for our kids. That's more important than the mistakes we made or we will make, and we will make mistakes. And so that means as a community, we have to be forgiving. I would rather have a teacher make mistakes in the classroom teaching about anti-racism than to not teach about it. As a parent, that's my preference. And so, you know, again, just as we're sharing our perspectives on this call, that's the Darmody's perspective on that. So anything you can do, not to add more to the layers of everything that we're trying to do to school right now.
Right.
But to be honest, you know, COVID is new and this isn't. We're just way, way behind on this topic. And I don't mean St. Rose, I mean all of us. So.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Can I just say to that point, there's, with the Catholic community that we have, just at St. Rose, and the relationships that we have with the nuns that are there and other folks, there's an opportunity there to really interact with people from around the globe. And I hope that you guys take advantage of that, especially in an environment where now, you know, we're having to look at different resources different ways and think about how do we leverage the community that we have at the church and how do we leverage the community that we have globally because of the network of folks that we have both at St. Rose and through the Catholic Church. So I think these have huge resources that we're not yet leveraging, you know.
Good point. Yeah, we talked with Kavika on Saturday about that a little bit, and I just love the idea of connecting with those in our community, like the Holy Spirit Sisters, and doing some projects or things directly, learning about their country, learning about what they do, or things in the community. Just that idea of some more project-based learning where it can come up to versus just like the sheets and things, but some more things that could be tangible, that they know someone that's been there or done that. I love that idea.
This is really valuable. Thank you guys for all your input.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like, you know, my job is to support the kids and what they're dealing with. And so I just went into this week just wondering, you know, what do kids know? What are they processing? And just, yeah, some parents don't really want it to be talked about explicitly. Some parents do. What do I do? How do I do this? So I think that's kind of where I'm coming from. And then knowing it's the last 2 weeks of school. So it's a kind of complicated thing.
Well, I think one thing to think about is any kid who has a cell phone gets the alerts that there's a curfew in effect. That's
right.
Super random and super new. So even my daughter's like, why are the phones going off? I'm like, well, there's a curfew because.
Yeah.
And then I have my own emotional conversation about it, you know, like
right.
We have to support and love and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So I'm not gonna, anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would love resources. I would love to talk about it. I would love them to have a platform and to support, to say, you know, that we love everyone. But I agree that for some families, it's going to be a tougher conversation or a difficult, it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing.
across the board, you're never going to get the same answer. But I agree with absolutely resources. I agree with the support of loving everyone and how do we support that and all those things I think are important, because this is us, this is life, and we need to be part of that.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's just a question that you can open up to the group if they have thoughts or concerns, or, I mean, it's a stressful, obviously, moment in history, current event. And so just if people feel like they need to talk about it,
right.
I guess even just to offer that without even swaying it, you know, just giving
Right.
them an opportunity to talk, I guess, if that's something they feel like there's so many emotions going on with them and they're all built up inside right now because they aren't able to be with each other. So they just maybe just giving them that space if they want to share something that's on their mind.
And that's something we've talked about with the kids, like COVID-19 right now. This is something you're going to talk about. If you have kids someday and whatever your life happens to be, you'll talk about this because this is different. And then we talk about, you know, what's happening right now. This is, you know, in support and love and all these other things. We talk the same thing, like this is history. Like, so we're trying to put it in that perspective. Like, these are times of change. Like, these are anyway. So just, I agree. I would love resources to help me just to, you know.
Yeah, I hear that. Absolutely. Yeah. So I have been culling through and looking through lots of stuff as best as I can. I know I saw that Ryan posted a very cool thing on the Facebook page. I don't know if that's a good place for if people find stuff or if that's too, I don't know. But I can work with Christine at least to come up with the best that we can. I mean, there are so many resources out there. Mm-hmm. And that's part of what gets overwhelming for us as parents is, I totally get it. I'm in that very overwhelmed place about it all. And, but would be happy to do whatever I can to be helpful to the school. So resources for sure. And I can work with Christine about how to do some of our Zoom calls, how to be responsive.
Exactly.
Supportive, open.
I just want to add one more thing about this being a topic discussed at school. In my 25 years of teaching, one thing that I've learned is, among many, is that your children respond to me differently than they respond to you. And in many ways, they respond to me better. And it's not because I'm a better adult or a better teacher, it's because I'm not their parent.
Yep.
And I have that experience with your children just among friends too. You might see your children be very polite to other adults, and then they treat you like garbage. So, you know, it's not a commentary on anyone's parenting or anyone's children, just that giving students the opportunity to think critically and have conversations age appropriate in school about topics that are important to us developmentally and then also important to our mission. I just would advocate that we try to arm our teachers too. So parent resources and having those conversations at home are only going to make the conversations in school more fruitful and actually more impactful for kids' development, but also for our society, which we're not trying to just make our own kids better, but with a topic like anti-racism, but we're trying to make society better. So, you know, if you have trepidation about that, just as someone that I know I work with older students, but I've been in elementary settings and I've seen all kinds of things, and I trust our St. Rose teachers that, you know, like that's why I say, like, if they make mistakes, I know that they had good intentions in whatever they might do. That's like a misstep, but it's not a misdirection, if that makes sense. Like, they're going in the right direction and they might miss on that path, but they're not taking our kids in the wrong direction. And so I would encourage just the trust and encourage the staff to try and take on whatever self-education they can do to be prepared for their grade level approach to anti-racism in the fall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, we'll see what these next couple weeks hold, what gets brought up at meetings. Yeah.
We'll talk, Dominique.
Yeah, I appreciate all your feedback. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. I just know it's a topic that's on my mind, and I have 2 kids, and yeah, how to do all of this amidst COVID and work. Yeah, I get it 100%. So a lot of deep breaths.
All right, anything else anybody wants to bring up?
With all the gratitude that's been expressed, I just want to make sure I say thanks for doing this specifically. These get-together, it's just great to see so many of these faces. I mean, these are adults I love in my life, and it's hard for us to get each other together. And so, if nothing else, it's really great to see the people that show up and hear voices. And so, really grateful to you and Shelley and again Dominique and the other staff that have been doing this type of thing. It's great, the class gatherings and stuff like that. It's really important. Earlier you said like an opportunity for another Zoom, and I almost threw up a little in my mouth because I don't want another Zoom in my life, but I know what you mean. But thank you for organizing these, Christine. I don't know what other school communities are doing, but it's great that we have this opportunity.
I'm thankful to be part of this community and for our teachers and our support. I agree with Ryan. I work all day from home. I'm meetinged out, but coming together with this community and seeing these faces is a huge lift in my spirits, and I'm thankful for everyone. And I miss even the people that I don't know, that I just see faces that are familiar, that I just smile at. I miss seeing that on the daily basis when my kids pick up the kids or walk through the hallways. So thank you for this. Thank you to the teachers, the staff, for everyone. We love you guys so much. So thank you.
I know, I think my favorite day was the teacher parade, just because it was like getting to hold my stop sign, and I was like, there's some normalcy right now, and I get to see all these people, and you can just tell. I mean, we're getting really strong apart in this way, but we're really strong together, and I think we just all really miss just the opportunities, like Jess said, just walking by and saying hi and a smile, and being out on the playground for pickup and things like that. And so I know we're in it together, and we'll keep creating unique ways to gather as a community and build as classmates with the teachers. Hi, Cormac. But yeah, we miss you guys all a lot. And so if anything, these are just opportunities to just get a vibe of how things are going, which is really what I want, because I want us to be collaborators together as we work with your kids. And it's really important for me to get how you guys are doing at home and feeling with everything. So if you ever want an email, please don't even hesitate. Like, just anything on your mind, I would be happy to hear. All right, well, I will let you guys go so you can enjoy the sunshine. I'm sure people are probably getting ready to maybe start dinner or take a nap. That's what I would like to do. But anyways, thank you guys all so much for joining. Take care, and I hope to see you guys all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.